Good evening. This is Eswatini TV News at 8, read to you by myself, Notilesi Tole, alongside Zamanzi Manze. First up, let's have a look at our top stories. His Majesty King Mswati III has appointed new Eswatini envoys. The Minister for Natural Resources and Energy says electricity is one of the major drivers of economic development in Eswatini. UN agencies in Eswatini today commemorated World AIDS Day under the theme Together Ending AIDS, Inequalities and Pandemics. And now the news in detail. His Majesty King Mswati III has appointed Eswatini envoys. Some of these envoys have been redeployed. This announcement was made by the Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini in his offices earlier today.
It has pleased His Majesty King Mswati III to make the following appointments of foreign envoys, ambassadors representing the country. 1, Promise Msibi is appointed ambassador to the Republic of China on Taiwan. 2, Socha Mhukugo Dlamini is appointed ambassador to the state of Kuwait. 3, Fiso Mlando Dlamini is appointed ambassador to the United Arab Emirates. Wesine, Mr. Tami Dlamini is ambassador and permanent representative to the United Nations in New York. The 5th, Vuile Msani Dlamini is appointed ambassador and permanent representative to the United Nations in Geneva. The last one is Mlondi Solomon Dlamini. He's appointed to the Republic of Mozambique as High Commissioner. The following appointments have been revoked. Promise Msibi, who has been his appointment to the representative to the African Union is revoked as he's been appointed to the ambassador in Taiwan. Socha Mhukugo Dlamini, his appointment as ambassador to Kuwait is revoked as he has been appointed ambassador to Qatar. The underlisted appointments have also been revoked. Melu Simasugu, he was ambassador and permanent representative to the United Nations in New York. Tami Dlamini, appointment revoked as ambassador to the Republic of China on Taiwan. His Royal Highness Prince Gina Dlamini, ambassador to the United Arab Emirates, has also been revoked. Mr. Abednego Ntshangase, High Commissioner to the Republic of Mozambique, appointment is revoked. Mr. Zwelethwa Mnisi, ambassador and permanent representative to the United Nations Office, Geneva, is revoked. Mr. Felizwe Percival Dlamini, ambassador to the United States of Qatar, appointment is also revoked. Bayete, wena waphakathi.
The Minister for Natural Resources and Energy, Peter Pembe, says electricity is one of the major drivers of economic development in Eswatini. Pembe was speaking when unveiling the Electricity Dispute Tribunal in Babane.
The Minister for Natural Resources and Energy, Peter Pembe, has unveiled the Electricity Disputes Tribunal, which is mandated to work on issues of disputes in the electricity sector. Minister Pembe says the more the economy grows, so are the disputes within the sector.
In terms of the law, the Electricity Dispute Tribunal is mandated to hear and determine matters relating to the electricity sector that have been reported to it. Matters that are to be heard and determined by the tribunal are those that the energy regulator could not resolve. Such matters will also include disputes arising from decisions taken by the energy regulator. The chairperson is Mr. Mzigayi Sebotsa, followed by the vice chairperson, who is Mandla Manzini. And then the registrar of the tribunal is Kuku Vilagati. Then Mkolisi Fagutse is a member. Mr. Tumsani Mgometulu is a member. Mr. Ngosinati Lloyd Mzizi is a member. This constitutes our tribunal for the electricity distribution in the country.
The chairperson of the tribunal, Muzigayi Semota, says they accept and appreciate the responsibility.
We accept the responsibility and mandate with full commitment and enthusiasm as well. We undertake to execute our functions and mandate of the tribunal with competence and professionalism, efficiency, and without fear and favor.
Minister Pembe says the tribunal's efficiency will facilitate growth within the electricity sector. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangen with Vumingo Sinzinisa in Babane.
Nature alongside UN agencies today commemorated the World AIDS Day under the theme Together Ending AIDS Inequalities and Pandemics in the Lubombo region. The main focus are males, since a study has proven that males or older men are the ones spreading HIV.
On Friday, National Emergency Response Council on HIV/AIDS (NECHA) commemorated World AIDS Day in the Lubombo region under the theme Together Ending AIDS, Inequalities and Pandemics. The Minister of Economic Planning and Development, Dr. Tambo Gina, says Eswatini has to work towards zero inequalities. No person deserves to be looked down at because he or she has HIV.
Reflect on his HIV and AIDS journey. Revitalize commitment to the fight against HIV. Refresh our commitments towards support for people living with HIV. And seize the opportunity to commemorate past heroes.
NECHA National Executive Director Kanyama Buza says Lubombo region continues to have people who still die due to AIDS.
Mage lapha uyasichazela ukuthi i-HIV kulesitadla basendako eMarisense ayenyuka edu. Lefuna ukukhuthaza ke lapha Honorable Minister is that we need to have now a program targeting men, because these young girls who are getting pregnant, it is us, particularly older men.
UNAIDS Country Director Rose Craig says the increase of gender-based violence plays a major role in the spread of HIV in the country.
Is the issue of gender-based violence. It is disheartening as a woman when I read in the newspapers and hear from other reports about increased incidences in gender-based violence, including sexual and gender-based violence. I'd like to say that gender-based violence is a driver of HIV. And I'd like all of us who are here today to just pledge that we will stop this, because we all can do something about it.
Lubombo Regional Administrator Themba Msibi says it is of importance for the region to know where it stands on HIV/AIDS matters.
Indzaba yethu sonke indzaba ye-HIV. Lelo nalelo Swati alisukume uliwe nalo bhubhane.
A study produced by the health sector shows that about 3 constituencies in the Lubombo region seems to have an increased numbers of people with HIV. These constituencies are Lukongolweni, Togotweni and Spofaneni constituency. Reporting, I am Tembelihle Makuchwa with Temba Shabangu, Lukongolweni.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, has officially launched a financial technology product aimed at improving access to financial services for rural women in business. The launch was held at the Happy Valley Hotel on Thursday.
On Thursday, the Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, launched a capacity-building project for microfinance focusing on grassroots women in Eswatini under Dig Image, financed by the Republic of China on Taiwan. The project will focus on women who are registered under SACCO. Speaking during the launch, the minister said the project will ensure that grassroots women in business have easy access to affordable financial services.
The launch of this product is in preparation of the phase 2 of the project, which will now then enable the members to get loan applications processed and allow them to have a credit that will allow them to advance their business aspirations. Honourable Minister, Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, since this project also works with the savings and credits cooperative societies, otherwise it's called SACCOs, they will be able to extend their financial services to this target audience through the implementation of Phase 2. I am told that the targeted SACCOs are those based in the rural areas who draw their membership from communities in those areas. However, let me again appeal to the cooperative department in our ministry as well as the capability building project to ensure that these SACCOs or cooperatives are run in an automated and digitized manner.
The Republic of China on Taiwan's ambassador to Eswatini, Jeremy Liang, says with the project, rural women will be empowered on entrepreneurship skills.
This microfinance project aims at empowering the Swazi women and then on entrepreneurship skills and improve access to credit and usage of financial services and products that are available within the kingdom. One might wonder why the focus is on women. And it is because, according to the Eswatini Think Scope Consumer Survey 2018, 52% of the adult population in the kingdom are women, of which a high proportion reside in rural areas.
Project manager at Dig Image, Cindy Sotlameni, says rural women in business are the main drivers of the country's economy.
As we may all know that these are the main drivers of the economy in the country, yet their level of access to finance is very questionable. According to the FinScope study in 2018, Eswatini is made out of a population of about 679,000 adults, of which 478,000 are in the rural areas, and 354,000 are actually women. Most of these women are using mobile money, and some are part of the informal financial services where cash is prevalent.
The Commissioner for Cooperative Development, Nonhlanhla Mnisi, praised the initiative, whereas SACCO's representative, Kabo Mahlalela, highlighted how the project will help women in business in developing their businesses using technology. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkel Suekoza with Giyani Msibi at Sulwini.
The Minister of Tinkhundla, David Ngamphalala, says chiefs have a duty to turn land for commercial purposes and not only focus on using it for ukondisa. The Ministry of Tinkhundla held a meeting with traditional leaders from the Manzini region where they were looking on how best they can commercialize their land in the various imiphakathi.
The Ministry of Tinkhundla held a meeting with Manzini region traditional leaders on how best they can utilize their land for business or commercial purposes and uplift the economy rather than using the land for ukondisa only. The Ministry of Tinkhundla seeks to develop rural communities and create job opportunities using the Rural Development Fund and other funds within the Tinkhundla system. The Minister of Tinkhundla, David Ngamphalala, encourages chiefs to commercialize their land and encourage the youth to utilize funds within the Tinkhundla system and start businesses, amongst other things.
Ngoba utawiwa kuyawukhulunywa utawufika nababalekile angene phansi esihlahla na hawo sengibabele ungene phansi esihlahla ungenelani babe phansi esihlahla ngoba kufanele live aliqondise ukuthi cha ngokwathi kwethu bekutawufika abantu abehlukene angeke bathunywe ngithi utawuba nje ukuthi basesikhulwini kubani ba uma tawufike nalo babakhuluma imalimi sitawinda njani
The chiefs then asked questions if there are any funds to maintain traditional structures and laws regarding ways to discipline people in their communities. The minister also had answers to that.
Ye-decentralization bill angikunike isiqiniseko ukuthi Tuesday yelo seyengcile emabandleni lamaningi ise-cabinet isuke cabinet ibheke parliament itawuthi sibuya ngale itabe iparliament ema-protocol committee onke asayibusisile ayimela ukuthi iyophasa eparliament ngoba ungayakha wena uma befike bona bangavumelani naletinye tincabekelwane kube netinkinga lebe kubambile hawu sesikuthindithile.
As of now, there's about 27.2 million in Malangeni, which is unused under the Manzini region within the Ministry of Tinkundla. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibu with Samgil Siwekoza, Esbayeni Lodge, Matsapa.
The Chief Executive Officer at the Royal Science and Technology Park, Vumile Dlamini, encourages other organizations to join hands with RSTP in encouraging the youth to innovate and start businesses. Dlamini has been speaking when Simple Course, a company under RSTP's incubation program, launched a Simple Book Sound at the George Hotel.
The Royal Science and Technology Park on Thursday, together with a company under their business incubation program called Simple Source, launched a Simple Book software which can be used by business owners to transact and automatically carry out double-entry bookkeeping for all the income and expenditures. RSTP's Chief Executive Officer Vumile Dlamini encouraged other organizations to join hands with RSTP and encourage the youth to innovate and start businesses.
We aim to raise awareness about the innovative products produced at the Royal Science and Technology Park and motivate all stakeholders to contribute to the development of the National Innovation System. You can contribute to this system through any of the following ways. One is investing in and enabling talent development, especially in science and technology and engineering fields, making it easy for startups to supply goods and services by removing stringent procurement rules, offering business development services, including finance, to innovators, enhancing intellectual property protection system, and giving startup access to critical IT infrastructure.
Marketing and Sales Officer at Simple Source, Tobeka Ngomalo, unpacked the software.
Business owners don't have to worry about sitting down and calculating daily, monthly, and quarterly. Daily, monthly, quarterly, and yearly reports. All you have to do is input the relevant information, click a few buttons, and everything will be done for you.
Simple Source assured the Maswati on the safety of the software and that companies will be capacitated on the software before using it. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samgil Swekoza with Giani Msibi Manzini.
Women and girls are still being abused and all sorts of abuse are still not reported despite abuse cases being high in the country. Women in Law, SWACA and other organizations launched gender-based violence dialogues in communities aimed at sensitizing people against gender-based violence. The launch took place at Gwaluseni.
Gender-based violence is still relatively high in Eswatini, and females, including women and young girls, fall vulnerable to abuse. The main concern is that they do not report this abuse, and some die in the hands of their spouses and abusers. Women in Law, SWACA, European Union, Waka Envoys, amongst other organizations, launched community dialogues on gender-based violence, which was launched at Gwaluseni Primary School. This was also a dialogue to empower women to occupy leadership positions in the country. The European ambassador in Eswatini, Salva Chimilova, says, no woman or girl should die in the hands of their abusers.
As much as it's good they treat men to make sure that women are seen and girls are seen as the leaders of tomorrow.
Women Law Southern Africa National Director Sizakele Hlachwago says what came out of the dialogue in Gwaluseni is that physical abuse especially is still relatively high and shockingly not reported, thus the initiative to take the dialogues to communities.
Lamanani ebantfu labahlukubetayo siyawabona lokho ukuthi aya aqhubeke anze. Ngiko-ke lelihlelo leli kuletinye tindzaba lelitifakako ngiyo lendzaba yekuhlukubetana. Kusho ukuthi lihlelo lesingalo namhla lana siyinhlangano yaka Women and Law, ngitinhlangano letisebenta tindzaba letitsintsa bomake nabobabe lesithi gender noma letitebulili. Sibuka kakhulu ingcikitsi yekuthi uma ngabe sitawukhulumisa tindzaba tekuhlukubetana kukhona la kwentiwa khona tincumo, kukhona lapho kushaywa khona imitsetfo, kunabo bani kuleto tigaba leto, kunabo bani kulobo buholi lobo. Lolu hlelo ke leseluhambisako noma ke iproject lesiyendako umkhankaso lesinawo ukhulumisana ngendzaba yekungena kwabomake etigabeni tebuholi.
Ngwakha Indvodza Project Coordinator Simanga Dlamini says theirs is to talk to men and young boys against abuse of women.
Lapho siyesiqoqisane khona ngato tindzaba temalungelo ukuthi bobabe sesibabone emvamiseni esikhathi ngibo lokhanza sibaye bafake isandla ekuhlukubeteni kwabomake nabosisi, so siyaqoqisana njengalendzaba leti singabe bobabe vele bangadlala qhaza liphi kuze ukuthi bomake bangahlukubeteki.
Statistics show that 1 in 3 women had been abused in Eswatini, and by the time they reach 18 years, they have experienced sexual abuse, and 48% had been abused sexually in their lifetime. Physical, sexual, emotional, and financial abuse is most common, especially amongst women. Men are also abused, though cases are low and not reported. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi with Samuel Siwekoza, Gwaluseni.
Good evening once again. You are still watching Eswatini TV. Let's have a look at our sports news. Babane Highlanders head coach Ernest Mavuso says getting maximum points on their first game of the season against Young Buffaloes has boosted their confidence going into the season to go as far as clinching this year's league. Mavuso was speaking during a media briefing in Babane Highlanders and Manzini Wanderers this coming Sunday at the Mavuso Sports Center.
Following a huge launch of the 2021-2022 MTN Premier League season, the games now will be entering their second week of action this coming weekend. One of the titanic clash we see Manzini Wanderers taking on Babane Highlanders. For Highlanders coach Ernest Mavuso, clinching the first victory of the season against Young Buffaloes, where has given them a right platform to finish well the entire season. For Nyanga Hlope, Manzini Wanderers, having failed to win their first game against Manzini Sipets, where they were defeated 3-1, it is now a new chapter as they are now focused fully on the
Eswatini Rugby Union Secretary General Bonkosi Dlamini says the current standard of the women rugby national team is very low based on the fact that the team has not been active for nearly 2 years due to the coronavirus pandemic. Dlamini says for now the team has started preparations for January 7 a-side tournament in Mauritius. Dlamini was speaking during the team's training session in Manzini.
After nearly 2 years without competing internationally, the women rugby national team has started preparations for the 7-a-side tournament in Mauritius January next year.
Because it will be a first.
The Secretary General of Rugby Union in the country, Bonkosi Dlamini, who is also currently assisting the team with preparations, says that the standard of the team for now is very low. Dlamini says that there is hope that could change if they manage to get a few international friendlies before the tournament next year.
Last time hamba khona ne-team ema-cheaters siyobona ukuthi sikuphi ngoba kutabe kunabo Uganda, bo Lesotho, bo Mozambique, bo Tanzania. Sifuna kubona ukuthi ngabe kuphumani bo Zimbabwe. Nathi sitilungisele for January.
Two players in particular, Sibongakuhle Dlamini and Spesihle Kumaro, are quite excited to return to the national team.
2 years solo singadlali, and recently sekufuna siyodlala ngale outside the country. So kunelivalo.
Yo, kumnandi like kuba part of the team, kumnandi ku.
They are, however, admitting that the preparations are tough after a long absence.
Izama kuqualifyela i-national team, also at the same time i-competition i-high, so nathi sazama kufaka nje umfutho.
The rugby union is confident that getting friendlies for the team will indeed boost their readiness for January tournament. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera with Rinda Dlamini, Mansini.
Before we conclude, let's have a look at our top stories. His Majesty King Mswati III has appointed new Eswatini envoys. The Minister for Natural Resources and Energy says electricity is one of the major drivers of economic development in Eswatini. UN agencies in Eswatini today commemorated World AIDS Day under the theme Together Ending AIDS, Inequalities and Pandemics. And with that, we sum up our bulletin for the. From myself and the team here at Eswatini TV, as always, thank you for joining us. Good night.